Hey, can I get your name and what you do?
My name is Father Michael Plona. I'm a Catholic priest. Currently stationed at St. John's in Center Riches. Best part of waking up is Jesus. Yeah, it's all really about making sure my own relationship with God is squared away, and that's the most important thing. And yeah, really from that, everything else kind of flows. So that's really the most important part of my whole day, the best part of my day. I don't know if I could even answer it because it's like every day of my life as a priest is completely different. In the course of like one day, I could go from meeting with somebody with a newborn, getting them ready to get baptized, to going to the bedside of somebody who's dying, to marrying somebody, to celebrating their funeral mass, to just dealing with the ordinary folks here in the parish and doing office work and stuff. So I think toughest part, worst part, kind of those times where you feel alone or just kind of what am I doing, or not what am I doing, what am I like alone, and just I don't know. I think those times of discouragement that kind of come for everybody, but definitely that comes for a priest too. In subtle ways and not so subtle ways. So there's no like consistent kind of time or place that comes, but I guess that's the toughest part about being a priest. Yeah, those times of loneliness, which I think is really more of a human thing than strictly a priest thing. But the idea of being a priest, this being my vocation, it's about it not being your plan. Um, for me, I think just being a priest day in and day out, living every moment as a priest. There's no end goal, and there should never be an end goal for me. To want to become this or that, or have that position or this title or whatever. I think the moment you do that, you lose credibility. You really lose authenticity. I think just in the most simple way, just to be faithful to my vocation day in and day out, whatever God in and through the church, calls me to, just to be able to give it my all and to be excited and joyful about it. I mean, there's a personal struggle with, I think, almost every aspect of becoming a priest, between, renouncing having a wife and kids, having a family of your own, renouncing really your own will as so far as where you're going to be sent, what you're going to be doing, going to the seminary, which, is a pretty difficult process, not only academically wise because you're studying a lot, but also just on a very human level, to live in this place with all these other guys you never chose to live with, and to you don't go into that seminary with this kind of nice neat blank slate. You go in with all your own personal history and baggage and wounds and stuff, and really in and through all that, to find God working in the midst of that, and to really feel a certainty in your heart that this is what God's calling you to do. Priests are human beings, priests are men, and I think when priesthood is lived out the way it's called to be lived out, you don't become less human. You don't become less joyful. You don't become less integrated. You become, more joyful, more integrated, more fully alive. And I think that's really, yeah, kind of like the beautiful secret that seems to be kept secret from so many people in the world, or what they perceive about priests, maybe. And even despite all the stuff that's happened, that people still have, they feel it in their bones almost that, they still need a priest. They want a priest. They still look for something from their priest. And to know that you on yourself, you can't give that, that's it comes from a presence greater than you. When you pass through that, giving it your best, every step along the way, I think you really feel in your bones, in a way that you can't explain to anybody else, that it's not because of you or your own strength or any of your skills that you became a priest. It's only in and through, yeah, God working in you, in your own heart, that you reach that day you become a priest at ordination. I think about how the seminary changed me. I think just all those ways you have to like die to yourself, and that comes in God, in and through the seminary. I think I went into the seminary a much more kind of puffed up kind of guy, definitely with some big ego stuff that needed to be, worked on. My own personal impatience and wanting things to go the way I wanted them to go, and to see them not go that way over and over again. Those were always personal things that I really felt, deeply challenged by, and worked on. And I think my own time in the seminary and the way God worked with me, I think I love that image, and I try to hold on to that. It's just allowing myself to be that child who doesn't see the bigger picture, doesn't really, get it fully, but just to kind of be led by God day by day, to kind of be a part of the biggest moments of 8,000 families' lives is pretty incredible. The birth of a child, the death of a loved one, marriage, baptism, problems and difficulties that come up and crises. You know, this person over here, their son was arrested and has a drug problem. You know, this person over here, you know, they're having a hard time finding work. This one over here, their marriage is about to break up. A woman over there who, you know, I'm the only person in the world she told, you know, she had an affair, you know, on her husband with. Or, you know, you see this older gentleman over here and you gave his wife last rites and you buried her. And, you know, he's still having a hard time, and you know he's having a hard time. And you look out and you see all of that at one time. And, you know, when you preach, you know, you have that in your heart, you have that in your mind, and you know who you're saying it to. So it's not just words kind of put out there. And, you know, it's something kind of beautiful. It's something also kind of definitely heavy at times to carry around. But I love when people come up to me and they tell me that, you know, they're a work in progress, or I'm working on this, I'm working on that, or I struggle with patience. I mean, it's kind of feel like answering a lot of times, yeah, we'll join the club. That's it. All those situations too, you find yourself as a priest. I definitely think patience is one of them. There's people who really try you and push your buttons. You want to get them to see things the way you see them, and just being able to grow to kind of see them as things that God has put in my path, you know, that are necessary, you know, for my own salvation, for God working about his plans in me without me becoming too puffed up or losing my way. Things I carry, you know, and the things that are personal, just my own personal struggles, and just the struggles that come with being a priest, just knowing how to deal with that, and, you know, always bringing that to prayer first and foremost. That being said, it's a struggle for sure. So many married folks who are lonely too, so I think loneliness is just something part of our human condition, but you feel it as a priest sometimes for sure. That's part of the sacrifice of it, part of the cross of it for sure.
Beautiful.
And that's about all I can say about that.